definitely grateful to have you here, Luis. It's funny. I was preparing for this interview, and I was thinking about all the times that you and I have like just rapped on the phone about deals and everything else. And one of the things that I noticed about you, man, is every time you and I get on a call and we talk, you always say how much you love your job. You're always like, dude, I love what I do. I love what I do. I love what I do. And I think that's awesome. We all get into real estate for like different reasons. For sure, I'm into it. I'm in real estate for the freedom, being able to work from home, take my kids to school and all that fun stuff. But I would love to know why you just absolutely love what you're doing. How come you always say that to me?
Like the easy answer is because I'm able to make money and I'm able to work from home and I'm able to have the freedom. That's why actually. In the beginning, I did not like as much, but then later on, I was like, hey, this is serious stuff. If I focus, if I put my head down, if I work, I grind, I can make a ton of money. So that's why I love it so much, because I'm on the phone all day long, especially this past few days, Johnny. It's like calling buyers, sellers, getting stuff done. So it's something that I enjoy, actually. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy getting the deals done, and I enjoy getting my bank account bigger.
So you're money motivated, right? So it sounds like when you first got into this space, I mean, were you going through kind of that beginning phase where you're building up your pipeline, you're learning the ropes, you're getting FUs and all kinds of stuff?
Yeah, I still get FUs a lot, to be honest with you, because I manage a lot of people and a lot of offers. But in the beginning, I guess I just didn't know what I was doing, first of all. And I was thinking, I had in my mind that I wanted to do something different for my life at the time, like 6 years ago. So it took me time to understand that the thing that I wanted was not realistic and too complicated. And the thing that I had on my hand was worth way more than what I thought. Because I also tried to be a realtor.
So you were an agent, you were a real estate agent before you got into the investing side of things.
They started together, but I wanted more to be a realtor for some reason that I kind of don't know. Maybe because of like you're related to more realtors than wholesalers or anything else, right? You see realtors everywhere. You see their advertising. You have your friend that used to do TV shows. So maybe because of that, because of the fame that comes from being a realtor. And a wholesaler, we're just in the back curtain. We're just doing stuff that the regular realtor don't do. So for a year, I was dabbling in between realtor and land wholesaler. And I should have been focused more on the land side of the business. And I was trying to be a realtor. And at the end, I was like, hey, what does make me money? What is making me money? And it was the land investor.
What were you doing before you got in, like as an agent?
When I got to the US, I did all kinds of jobs. I was working in a farmer's market, just unloading vegetables from the truck to put in the farmer's market at 5 a.m. I was also working in a dealer, just working with the cars, just taking the cars to wash, parking the cars, taking the cars, putting gas. And then later on, I got a job as a server, and I was a server for, at some point, I had two jobs as a server, bus boy, and yeah, just doing the regular jobs that average Americans do.
And what changed? What made you say, you know what, I need to pivot?
There was a guy, shout out to Dion in Venice. I used to live in Santa Monica. He told me about real estate and uh, many how many millionaires came from real estate. So I started understanding more. I had no idea what it was at the time. And again, like you said, I thought a realtor was the solution to be a realtor, but I later found out that it's not. I had good training at Dealback. I can't complain about them. They trained me very well. But I was not just getting enough paychecks from it. So I had to keep my job for about a year and a half almost as a server in a restaurant, till I finally decided. And then after a year, I was just like, I have to focus on land. Forget about being a realtor. And then I started making more money. I was like, all right, time to quit the job and, and go full time in land investing. But I purchased all kinds of courses that you can think of. You were talking about that, a lot of people that you purchase a bunch of courses. I did the same thing. My first course was like a free seminar from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Glendale. And you go there, it's free for 1 day. And then you purchase 3 more days, $1,000. And then you go to the next 3 days, it's another $20,000 to learn more about it. So that's what I did. I was like, they teach you how to get credit card 0 interest. So they were like, if you want to learn, you can do this to get money. And I did. So I was $20,000 in debt with a free credit card for about 18 months. Gladly, I got so much content. I started applying for it. I tried pretty much everything in like trying to buy mobile homes, trying for sell by owners, trying parks. And when I got to understand about the land, I'm like, whoa, this is what I have to do, because I didn't have any money. So you could lock in a property under contract, a piece of paper, and then you transfer that paper, the rights to that paper, to someone else, and then you just get the middleman cut. Like you said, there's no percentage. It's just like, people ask me sometimes, what's your percentage? I'm like, I have no idea. It's just a matter of like, how much can I get that seller to accept an offer for? And then how much can I find a buyer for? And that's what I do every day. I wholesale, I double close, I do assignment fee, I purchase the properties under my name. I do subdivisions now, but everything related to the investment side. I'm still a realtor because why not? I studied for 6 months to get my license. Why not keep doing it? And I do have 2 escrows right now in California from neighbors that they kind of know me. So they used me, and I was able to have their house sold in 7 days. And they hired me to buy another house. So like, it's free money, and I'm a good negotiator. And that's why, but my bread and butter, it's from land investing.
Funny that you say that, because I was thinking the other day, I deal with a lot of real estate agents on the wholesale side when, with single family properties, even some of the multifamily stuff. I deal with a lot of agents, and, not all agents are made equal, right? Some are good, some are bad. But what I was thinking is, when we're wholesaling houses, same deal, we're passing paper, we're putting properties under contract and then finding buyers. But what's interesting about what you and I do that I think is a lot different, and this is probably what makes you a really great real estate agent, is we actually go and look for buyers. We actually actively solicit buyers instead of, it's not just listing a property on the MLS or maybe, Zillow or Facebook. I mean, I know you do all those things, but my point is that we have a certain amount of time in which we must sell. And usually that's going to be a lot shorter of a time than maybe a traditional listing agreement. So we are highly incentivized to bring the highest and best offer, and we're actively soliciting it. Probably translates really well as an agent for you.
Yeah, it does actually. I'm always like talking to people about the things that I'm selling. Like you said, we have a time limit. My escrow period right now for when I have a land under contract is 60 days. So in 60 days, I have to find a buyer for that piece of land. And I'll tell you what, that's enough time as long as you do a couple of strategies that I teach in my course. You hire photographers, you put for sale signs, you put everywhere online for sale, and you take calls and you like ask, why not? Can I, if the price was a little bit less, can you buy it? And you understand why are they calling you? Because if they took the time, the buyers, to call you, they are interested. They're looking for something to buy. It's just like, is your property the right one for them? And if not, why? Is it because the electricity is not too close, because they don't know the water costs, or is it because, what is it? And that's what I do all day. I'm finding why the buyers don't want to buy my property. And I'm finding the sellers, like I'm constantly sending offers every single day. We send a ton of offers, at least 1,000 a week. So I have about 9 people in my team, virtual assistants from the Philippines, and they're making calls, they're texting, they're writing contracts, they're putting properties for sale. I have one guy right now on my Facebook account. He is posting properties for sale right now. So he does that every other day. So he logs into my other laptop, so the IP doesn't change, and then he posts the properties for sale, and then just keep going. And then there's a couple other strategies to sell properties, and I can teach people. Like I built my course for that, right? And what I like about houses, what I like about land, I have never wholesaled house, multifamily, nothing. It's just land for myself. When people call me with houses, most of the time I just like unplug myself from the equation. But it's not a lot because we're focusing on land. I just don't like the things that you have to do with houses. Like, you have to call contractors. They have to go there. They have to tell you a rehab budget. You got to check roof, foundation, termite, all of those things. I'd rather just have a piece of dirt where I know the value is based on location, water, and electricity access. And that's about it. I have to hire anyone. Sometimes a surveyor, like there's a property in Texas that I'm double closing, and the buyer had to hire a surveyor, not even me. Or sometimes a soil test, but those are like one in 50.
I read a book probably 6 months ago that it was like an introduction to land investing, and the whole premise or the whole idea was behind it was sending out just blind offers. So blind offers, they use some sort of software, that was recommended, and you just calculate some sort of percentage on what the software thinks the property's worth, and you actually send out like contracts that are ready to go. You like send the contracts, and then they sometimes, I guess, come back signed, and then you're in a deal. Is that do you do that type of strategy too?
Yes, I do, actually. That's the motivation, right? People purchase land thinking that the price will go much higher, and people inherit vacant lots too. That's very common. And most of the things that you have to think about, there's no attachment to the piece of land. Most of the people that I talk to, there's no attachment because they have not raised their kid in there. It's just a piece of dirt and they move it away. What I see a lot is elderly people that they purchase with the intention to move and build their own, their retirement house. That's what I see. And then they're tired of paying property taxes. Maybe there's an HOA. Maybe there is, you have to hire people to go cut the grass. There's a couple other things that that I can think of.
There must be some pretty significant challenges to be in that space.
Yeah, for sure. There are challenges. Going back to when you're talking about how the software works for you to send thousands of offers without you checking every single lot, I don't trust any software. I do the comparables myself, and I have seen all softwares out there. I have checked, and their price is not accurate. So in order for you to do something like a blind offer, Johnny, it takes way more time, it takes way more skill, but you have to dissect little pockets in little cities, because if there is like south of the freeway, there's one price, north another price. So you got to think about that when doing blind offers. But you can do it. You can average it out. You can do a comparable, but you're not going to do a comparable for the whole city or the whole area. No, you're going to do little comparables, and then you're going to put it all together and you're going to mail the offer. And back in 2019, 20, 21, and 22, dude, I was getting contracts signed left and right. So I was just doing a bunch of blind offers. We're talking about like 80,000 a year. We're talking big numbers. And I will get like at least every year 60 deals from blind offers. Right now, it's way more complicated. I do a variety of every possible and imaginable way of reaching out to sellers. I do texting, I do cold call, I do ringless voicemail, I do email, and I do letters as well. So it's way harder. And the thing that you were asking me about, like, why people don't do it and what's the complication behind, right? It's just because it's a numbers game. I'm not talking to one person, 20, 30, 50. I'm talking to like a week. My team is talking to at least 500 people a week. They're talking with 500 people. They're texting 20,000 people a month. So it's like, it's a numbers game, and people just give up. They just think that first week they're going to get a contract, second week, first month, second month. No, it's not, doesn't work like that. Sometimes you do get lucky, but most of the times it's just you working every single day and you sending offers. Frustrating. It's freaking frustrating sometimes, you know. But I know already the process. I trust the process, and I know that I must keep active. Active meaning downloading more properties, finding new areas, making more calls, offering more money, less money, doesn't matter what. I need to understand, and I need to listen to the sellers as well. And there's areas in Arizona that I keep offering like $10,000 and the people want $15,000, you know? I mean, like, we're close, but we're not that close because I can sell that property easily for 22. But, you know, if you get a contract for 15 and then let's say something happens and the property is not like the way you think of, and you can sell it only for 17, that's not enough money. So I keep following up with the sellers to see if they're going to be able to drop that price. You know, maybe they can do $12,000, 12,500. So there's more money for myself, right? And my system is all built. My employees, I train them a lot and they know what to do. Like if the person doesn't accept the offer, we ask what's the least amount of cash that they want to take. We write it down and then we call them in 3 months. If the price that they want to take, it's a little bit higher than what I offered, they let me know right away. And I check again the property. Can we make that happen? You know? And there are a lot of like comparables where I put, hey, we can offer 17,589 and 69 cents. I like to go to the cents. I do, actually. I think it's very important. And then in there, it's going to be like, we can go up another $2,000. So they offer the 17 plus the cents, whatever it is. And then the person, I don't want it. And then like 2 or 3 days later, they call back with the increased offer. They don't tell the increased offer right away. No, I need to build that contact. I need to like, first interaction with one of my employees is just like, hey, how are you? And a couple other questions like about the land. And like, okay, I'll let my manager know. We'll get back to you with an offer. Even if there's an offer in the file. And then they get back in about 2 or 3 days with the offer. And we go from there. We just keep following up unless they're like, F you or freaking crazy. They're like mad about the price. And they're like, I don't want to deal with those people. So I rather delete them from my system. But at the same time, it's hard to delete people from your system. So you know the ones to delete because you're like, you notice right away. You can see if that person is going to sell it to you or not. You can kind of feel it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because, you know, I feel like when I get it because I will talk to people and I'll have the same type of experience where I'm on the call with them and they're like pissed off or they're upset and they're not necessarily like, I'll have conversations with people and I haven't even made them an offer. They're just upset about it. I don't even know what they're mad about. And I'm like, I don't really get it. In my leads, you know, the way we do deals is we advertise. So we get inbound leads. They've like filled out a form. They've seen an ad. I'm like, bro, you called me, you know, why are you mad at me? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's very different. For us, we're not doing like you're doing. We're reaching out to them. They have no idea, no clue who we are, you know, so I'm out of the blue, which is very different. That's why it's like, don't talk about money in the first call. Don't. Second call, sure. Don't text offers. Most of the offers, we have to talk to them on the phone. Unless they're like, hey, you know, just text me. And they're like, never busy. We tried 3 times and they don't pick up. They just text us back or email. So like, all right, just freaking give them the offer. And that's what we have to do. But most of the times, I tell all my employees, and they all know, you got to jump on the phone call with them. Just share one thing here that just happened right now, live. My employee just texted me right now. That a seller rejected our offer. It's $8,500 per acre for a property that is, how big is it? It's all my CRM. Yeah. It's 20 acres. So 8,500 per acre. And the lady replied back, we reject your offer. Subject to enter into a mutually acceptable contract for sale. We're selling the property for $50,000 per acre for a gross price of $1 million. Is this acceptable to you? I'm like, I'm not going to even reply back to this person. I just sold, I'm not kidding, I just sold the lot next door to her, adjacent, connected, for $15,250 an acre. And she wants $50,000. That's insane. So those are the people that I'm like, all right, forget about it. Never going to have a property with her. I sold the property adjacent to her, Johnny, connected for $15,250 an acre. And she wants $50,000. And I offered her $8,500 an acre because, I want to have room to negotiate. But this is the kind of sellers that you deal with. I wish I could buy her property. I would have the buyer right away to buy it for, for 15, the same price that I sold the other one. But I guess I can't. And she's never going to sell that property for $50,000. Never.
And it really goes back to the idea that you're not solving a problem today, right? Because she's never going to get that amount of money from anybody. I mean, you're an investor. You know what the market always determines the value of the land, so she's not going to get that number. But if you were solving a problem, if there was a problem if she needed to sell, then maybe she wouldn't entertain 85, but she might entertain 12, because that she's not getting offers probably above that 15,000, because you've been soliciting the property to all kinds of people, or a very similar property, right? So the actual value. So I totally get it. It's tough, and it's the challenge, in my opinion, is what do you do with that lead? Do you say, I'm never going to buy this land, or do I put it in a nurture campaign and hope in 6 months it comes back around?
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm texting her, no, thank you. And then I'm going to add to my system for me to check in about 6 months, probably. I don't want to do 4 months because it's too soon, but I'm going to add for myself in 6 months. No, I know she cannot sell it for that amount. I absolutely know. Maybe 17,000 an acre, maybe, but that's still a stretch.
I'd love to know, for the guys who, who follow you and want to get into the land space, what is the easiest way to get into that side of the business?
I would do the same thing. I would take the risk. I took the risk going to these courses. I took the risk by getting a credit card, free interest money. I took the risk because I believed in myself. I believed that I could do it. I didn't know anything about nothing, zero. And as soon as that course was available to me after I purchased, I was reading like nonstop. I was like, I could not get more content. I believe when someone offers you things like that, you should take it. It costs you a little bit of money. Like for me, example, I'm selling my course for $2,500, a little bit more than that. That's like nothing. I paid that amount back in 2019 to learn, and I'm selling for the same thing with way more things for the person to learn. So I think you got to take the risk. I think you got to find a way. There's a ton of free stuff in there, but at the same time, they don't teach you everything. That's why we build courses. And can I tell you that my course is better than the other one? I don't know the other ones about land flipping. I just know one person that taught me back in 2019. I know that mine is much better than his because he's still stuck on that mailer's mindset, and I'm not. 2023, I sent about 80,000 mails, letters. 2024, I sent not even 10,000 because I learned that mail is so expensive. There's so many other ways to reach out to a seller that I can lower my expenses and I can bring more profit. So if someone is starting to like learn and want to do it, purchase someone else's course. Doesn't have to be mine, but like get that thing done. And then just put action, just keep calling, and don't give up, because if you give up after 100 calls, you're not serious. You're just a joker. And I got students like that.
I think
they made like 10, 20 calls, and they're like, this is business not for me. I'm like, come on. 20 calls is not enough. 50 calls is not enough. Gary Vee says that all the time. He's like, you got to go and you got to talk to a ton of people. And I agreed with him. If I were looking for a job and I wanted something, I would apply for 1,000 different jobs till I get 5 responses and 5 people would want to hire me. And then I would select the best one for myself.
No, I think that's great advice. In this business, it's 100% about, massive action. And what I find is that, guys who go through courses, when they have some sort of financial investment in themselves, they're more likely to take action, right? So when you're just going on YouTube or maybe going in Facebook groups and kind of like researching, it becomes, they're not that they're not as financially incentivized, but certainly when people pay for courses, they are taking it more serious. And what's great about doing, any type of, look, man, I don't even know how much money I've spent. I'm part of subject to or sub 2 paces deal that cost me $9,000. Part of the 7-figure cartel that cost me $10,000. I did a Panitas deal. I think that cost me like $1,500. I did and I've done a whole bunch of other like little ones. I don't even know how much money I've spent. All kinds of money on different programs. Some of them brought value. Some of them didn't. But
I have purchased a bunch of them, and recently I had Eddie Speed, the guy that talks about notes, how to buy notes, how to buy partial. I paid $37 for that course. It was the most expensive one. Would I do it again? I don't think so, ever. Like, it was too expensive for my taste, and I didn't think that was valuable, but I had to do it. It was a business expense for myself, and I just didn't know before I started. But now I am another mastermind that's like, I pay every month $250, plus I paid the interest fee, and it's for a guy in Texas, and that he teaches me, he helps me with subdivisions in all of us. That one was the most profitable course that I have ever taken, because of that, I have my 800 acres in West Texas subdivision, because I paid someone to teach me again, because I didn't know what I was doing. I know how to flip land, buy low, sell high all day long across the U.S., anywhere you can think of. I didn't know how to do subdivisions. So I was like, my mindset at the time, December 2023, it was like, I want to do what this guy's doing. He's putting free stuff online, and I want to do subdivisions and make more money in land. I love making 10, 15, 20, 30, 40K checks, but it's the hustle. Like, I want to make more. I want to make millions of dollars. And this guy was doing it. So I was like, listen, I'm just going to buy his course. I don't care what is it. And I'm going to take action. And only after 6 months of being his mastermind, calls every single Friday. At the time, it was calls every single Friday. I would bring 2-3 deals for him to see with the whole group. Like, oh, this one doesn't have enough road frontage. This one is too small. This one doesn't have water, And finally, after 6 months of like every week, Johnny, I was nonstop. I was like, I told him when I started the course, I'm going to get a subdivision. I'm telling you right now. And I got it. 6 months after, I had a property under contract, 200 acres initially. And then I went to Texas. I saw the property. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. And the guy had another 800 acres left. So it was a total of 1,000 acres. I came back to him. I was like, I want it all. I want 1,000 acres. And he's like, hey, I promised 200 acres to a friend, but I'll sell you the other 800 acres. So I put it all together. I brought partners with the mindset, with they had done similar subdivisions next to it. So I'm like, they knew everything. They knew road guys, they knew surveyor, they knew commissioners, they knew everything. So I was like, hey, I'm going to share the profit with you. Can you come with me? They came with me. The same thing. I'm paying them to be with me so I can cut corners, so I can go way faster, like 10,000 miles per hour. And then they brought in people with the money, because it was a $3.4 million purchase price. $3.1 million purchase price, and then $300,000 in improvements. So they brought people with the money. So again, I shared my profit with other people to make that thing happen. But that would never be done without, first of all, getting the course. Second of all, my massive action and some luck. I think there was some luck in there too. Just like luck that I got the right seller. And, I got the right sellers before. I tried everything. I'm going to Texas this upcoming Thursday, to see, to try to get more subdivisions, and we can talk more about that, but it's just like massive action. I just talked to a seller today about, he has, 150 acres in one area, and then another 200 acres, So I'm like, I'm putting myself out there. That's what I'm doing. And that's why I love it so much, because I'm like, dude, I know the freaking return could be like amazing as long as I put in the hours. And I know what I'm doing now with the subdivisions too, I'm still in the mastermind of these guys to pay 250, because there's new things that we are all learning with. And for me, it's cheap money.
So just so I understand this, right? The deal that you have, where is it? You say where in Texas is this? The 800 acres?
It's West Texas.
So how much money do you actually have? I mean, do you have? If you don't mind asking, how much money did it cost you to do it? Did you just use complete other people's money? Zero. You got no money into the deal, and the purchase was $3.4 million.
3.1, and another $300,000 with improvements, water study, a bunch of other things.
Wow, that's awesome. Maybe we can just back up a little bit. So, I'm not a subdivision guy, right? So explain to me exactly kind of like how just, at 30,000 feet, how does it work buying, 800 acres and subdivisions? What does all that mean?
So if you go through the counties and every single state, it's different. Every single county is different, but you can subdivide vacant lots into smaller parcels. So essentially, there's rules in Texas like if you subdivide above 10 acres, let's say you have 100 acres, you subdivide 100 above 10 acres, it's a one process, much simpler. And then if you go below 10 acres up to 1 acre is another process, which is a little bit more complicated and depends on every single property. There's more regulations to follow. And then if you want to do even less than 1 acre, there's way more. So, it's just understanding. So in this case, I got 200 acres and then I got 800 acres. And we just saw like, what's the best use for this land? And for us was like to do 1+ acres because it was enough profit. We knew the roads, they need to be done. We knew about the utilities and everything else. So from you outside there, it's just like, again, having the right person to guide you, of course, and knowing the value after you do the subdivision. Like, how much are you buying it per acre for? How much is going to cost you to improve the lot per acre? And then how much can you sell that lot per acre after? In every single state, there is regulations that you have to follow. So you just have to learn from scratch, or you get people like I did, right? I also did a minor subdivision in Colorado. And that was, before I would just wholesale this deal, Johnny, I got 1 acre and it was like good road frontage, like amazing. And I was like, what can I do with this property now that I know a little bit more about subdivisions? I called the county. They told me, hey, you can split into 4 lots and that's called a minor subdivision. It's going to be much easier. So I went through that route. They did tell me that it was going to take 4 months. It ended up taking almost a year. So, but now I have 4 vacant lots instead of 1. And I'm happy about it. I'm selling the lots right now. I'm hiring a guy to put a for sale sign there, like a graphic design and everything else. I don't use agents. I like to do it myself because I know what it takes and I know how to negotiate. And I just use flat brokerless fees, like brokerless MLS fees. So if someone wants to learn about subdivisions, it's more complicated than you can think of. But in that one, you absolutely have to hire help. And that's what I did because I saw this guy posting things online for free. And I mailed the counties where he was working at. On his YouTube videos, he was sharing the location where he was working, Johnny. So I'm like, let me do it right now. But then this happened. Sellers started calling me and I'm like, I have no idea how to talk to you, first of all. And I have no idea how much to offer. How can I break this down into smaller lots? I have no clue. So I was like, he sells courses. So I'm like, I'm going to buy it. And that's it.
Well, what you did was you paid for a shortcut is what you did. We
I
were,
paid for a
talking about
shortcut,
that
yeah.
earlier. Paid for a shortcut, man. And you could, and that's the thing is you can figure it out. You can go on YouTube and you can search all the things and you can chat GPT it or whatever, and you can get the answers. But it's nice to be able to click a button and get the answers right away, or pick up the phone and call somebody because you purchased their course or whatever.
If someone purchases my course, after they purchase my course, they're going to get everything, right, available online on demand so they can watch anytime they want. At the same time, I give them 2 hours of my time, and it's a valuable hour, I'll tell you. After they learn a little bit more about what I do, to make sure they're investing in the right areas. Because it's not easy to pick a market, and you probably know more than anyone else. It's not easy. And sometimes you make mistakes going to the wrong areas, and then you waste a week, $1,000, whatever it is. And I give that opportunity to my students so they can come to me and bring the markets that they think it's worth doing the land flipping. And then I tell them, hey, this is a good one, this is not a good one. Usually what happens is out of 5 that they bring to me, 1 is good, 4 is bad. So I already saved them a bunch of time and money and energy by not mailing or talking to sellers that are never going to...
We're just out of time, so I just want to honor your time. But, man, I'm so grateful that you decided to jump in here and allow me to do this interview, listen to kind of your story and all the fun stuff that you're doing. And it's been a blessing to do this with you. Thanks for stopping in, bro.